At the 17th Intergovernmental Committee of Experts (ICE) meeting here in Kampala, energy experts, members of the civil society, and senior government officials deliberated on how to enhance energy security and access in the Eastern African sub-region. Under the theme Enhancing Energy Access and Security in the Eastern African Sub-Region, the main objective of this meeting was to deepen discussions and set a framework to address the issues of energy access and security within the region.
The 5-day meeting has experts within the energy and economic sector in Africa present, listen and discuss several issues and solutions on the state of energy access security, especially here in East Africa. Africa, particularly the Eastern African sub-region, represents the most significant challenge to addressing the global energy access problem.
Most of the population in Eastern Africa rely on biomass energy. Welcoming delegate at the conference in Uganda, the Ugandan Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development in charge of planning, emphasized on the theme of this year's meeting.
The theme of this meeting, enhancing energy access and energy security in the Eastern African sub-region, is both timely and pertinent to the region, given our development agenda and ambition to transform this region into a middle-income status.
To achieve some of the objectives set out in this meeting, some essential issues need to be tackled, as this expert asserts.
So we need to know what we really mean access and accept it as a region. This is what we want. Therefore, for us, for issues of access and security, we look at issues like adequate. Do we have adequate power? Adequate to us means that it meets what is required plus 15% reserve. Then we'll say we have adequate power. Is it available? You can have it, but people cannot reach it. You cannot have it when they want it. Is it affordable? If it is there, but they can't pay for it, they will not use it. Do we say they have access or not when they can't access it because of the cost? Is it reliable? Is it secure? That means it is there throughout. And security, you know, it can be obtained by a good energy mix and cross-border trade. Okay. Is it of good quality? Sometimes it could be there, but the industry says it's so unreliable, we go for our own generation. These are issues we need to consider as we move forward. And then for us to reach the access, we must consider a combination of grid and off-grid. East African Power Pool will deal mainly with the main grid, but to reach human beings living in the villages, you have to look at the development of mini, micro, pico-hydro, isolated geothermal, wind, and solar. These are the kind of things we need to look at. This, in our region, we did a study, we found a correlation between demand growth and economic growth is 2.1. That means, as we were told in the morning, if the economic growth is about 5%, the demand and suppressed demand must be more than 10%. Now, how do we reach this demand? We must know that it will require quite a lot of money to do. First of all, we have calculated the interconnection projects, all of it. We find that you need about $6 billion US dollars, just on interconnections only. But the good thing is if you interconnect, the operation cost savings is far more than this. So if you're prudent, let's say we interconnect and just share the peak power without putting new more generation. We are more than enough, except that we are isolated. That is a challenge which we have. So our solution is, there has been a failure. A policy failure by, I don't know who. There's also by their technical failure by some of us who have been technical fit for a long time. We do not need to spend time weeping about this. We need to come up with a strategic roadmap with time frames and milestones to sort out this problem once and for all. We have looked at also the most important thing here when we are talking about is the investment in the generation. We appreciate a lot of work which has been done by NELSAP, and I saw the NELSAP people here. Actual implementation of power interconnection on the ground. But when we come to generation planting, depending on the demand growth I've talked about, we have to bring in the private sector. And the private sector will want some things like, do we have a good regulatory framework in place? Do we have a reliable off-taker? They would like to know that the investment, they'll be able to sell that power to somebody. Is the system reliable enough to take that power without interruption? So we need to do everything else to invite and encourage the private sector to come in. Because to do refurbishment up to 2015, that alone is about 13.8 billion US dollars, which must be done. But as I said before, even when this is done, the returns are just waiting for us on the savings on the operation costs. So we really need to look at what are the frameworks that we need to put in place within the countries, within the region, to make sure that we can attract the private sector either through PPP or through IPP. The frameworks, of course, the first one is the policy. We must look at our policy to encourage the participation of all possible players. Second, we must look at the legal framework. When an investor comes in and he says, I want to put 1,000 megawatts generation, not a single country can consume this. But with the region, that is nothing. Do we have a framework, legal framework for cross-border investment to ensure that the power that is put in one country can be put for the region? The third item we need to look at is the regulatory framework. Gives comfort to the investor. And the fourth one, of course, the institution framework. The investors and the operators would like to know that when you put power within this system, there's security, there's reliability, there's efficiency in the operations of the power sector. So we have come up with a master plan, we have come up with the grid rules, we have come up with market rules, we have come up with a strategic roadmap, we have come up with our template power agreements. We have looked at all those basic things that you require to push forward the power sector. And most important of all, we have got the first regulator within African continent which has got teeth. Teeth is for biting somebody who doesn't obey the rules. Because this will give a lot of confidence to the investors, whether local private investors or external private investors, that they're coming into a play field where they'll be handled clearly. The referee has the whistle and doesn't hesitate to blow it because somebody else is going to tell him not to blow it. This is the kind of thing we want to know is happening within our region because, as I said before, we have been weeping too much of what's going on. We are the worst here, we are the worst here. We should concentrate, what are we doing about it, by what time, and how? This is where we should be.
I think we are concentrating on grid power and hydro and whatever it is. I've not heard anything on the renewable energy that actually could come in and bridge this gap. We have all the resources that we have. We want to produce solar energy, wind energy. We don't actually, when you look at some of the Western countries now, they have a domestic policy. If you build a house in Europe or in America, you must have to provide that you have to actually harvest water. You must have provision for solar energy. And how are we as Africans, where we have all these resources, concentrating on the hydro and thermal, rather than actually putting emphasis on the resources that can produce cheap and affordable energy for our people?
Amongst the 14 countries represented at this meeting, after more than 20 years in civil war, the Somalia government was for the first time taking part in this meeting. In an interview to RK TV, the Deputy Minister for Public Works, Reconstruction in charge of ports and energy discussed on the importance of such meetings.
The energy sector is yet to be developed in Somalia. Yes, accessibility to energy is key to success of the development. So what we're working right now very hard is to put in place an infrastructure or policy or framework that will help or assist us. Whoever is willing to invest in that sector will benefit in the long term.
How do you see Somalia as a country attracting foreign investors? I know you have Somalia has a very large population of diasporas who can come and support the economy. How do you see other foreign investors, apart from Somalia, coming to invest in the energy sector in Somalia?
We are welcoming anyone who is contributing to the development of Somalia. When I said the diaspora and the Somalis themselves, they have proven that they could start out of nowhere and emerge. So yes, we welcome diaspora as well as any international groups who are, whether it's Africans or non-Africans, to come and assist us in rebuilding the country. So we are ready for that too.
Lack of insufficient energy planning and growing energy demand has pushed the Eastern African sub-region to technology choices that have brought in more thermal generation. This annual meeting, therefore, is to examine the progress made thus far and the way forward in energy access and security within the region. The meeting, organized by the Economic Commission for Africa (ECA's Sub-Regional Office for Eastern Africa with the Ugandan Ministry of Finance, draws together about 250 participants from within and outside the region and attracted energy economic experts from as far as Europe and the United States.
Economics Affairs Officer with UNICA based in Kigali, and you basically assist in coordinating this meeting, ICE meeting. Yeah. Now, just tell us, what are the importance of such meetings in this region?
Because ICE is very important for the office and for the region. ICE, it is a mandatory meeting organized each year in one of our members' countries. The objective of this ICA is to discuss on the work program of the office for the current years and for the passing year, and also to discuss on the tracking progress economic, the socio-economic situation of the region. And also we have a team for this conference. This year the team is important for the region. It is energy access and energy security. We are going to bring all representatives of member states at the high level and as a representative of experts, civil society and private sector to discuss on this issue during 5 days.
So what are the outcomes you're expecting from this
The outcome,
meeting?
it is to best understanding the problem in on the issue on security and access in the region, to find relevant recommendation to sort it out, this problem in the region. Also to discuss on the regional integration issue, to try to find how we are going to mainstreaming this regional integration at the national level. You know, we have more than 2 RECs in the sub-region. We have a duplication or overlaps for the member state. We have one member state, the party on 2 or 3 RECs. And we try to discuss how to mainstream the regional integration at the national level. We are also discussing on the trade flow issue. It is very important, but we are going to have the market, the common market soon in East African country. And we have also another subject regarding the sub-regional coordination mechanism. It is a mechanism to bring all RECs and IGO to work together on one single program with one single fund.
You talked about the common market. How would that work in this region, where would there not be some conflict of interest in terms of sovereignty? Countries that feel no, they can't share perhaps their natural resources with each other.
Well, for the common market, you have EAC doing well in this region. They'll try to make everything on the right way to put in place this common market soon. Yeah, we know there is a lot of problem, other problem in the region, but I think with the leadership and the commitment of the head of state, we are going to find a way soon to put in place this common market.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Martha.